Yo, what is up, Plus Ultra fam? It is me, Plus Ultraman, and I wanted to hit you guys with 2021's video for my thoughts and goals for the year. I did a video like this last year that was really interesting to go back and kind of use as a time capsule slash where I was back then to compare to where I am right now video. And it was really helpful and kind of motivating me at times, and just something to reminisce about. So I wanted to make sure I did that bigger and better by recording a few more things in this video, which we'll get to in a bit. So first thing is first, I owe everyone who has contributed to all the achievements the channel has currently run into a massive thank you in doing whatever you have done and contributing whatever amount you have. Whether that be from just watching and liking videos, leaving comments, sharing with a friend, maybe some family members, maybe on your social media like Twitter or Reddit or something. Maybe you're one of our amazing channel patrons who has pledged a certain amount of money that has helped me to where in certain times during the year, there would be times, okay, I can either make sure I get this visual commission for this story, or I can eat. Because you're a college student and there's like, you know, a limited amount of those funds that you can use on things that aren't like food and necessities. And it's really nice to have that fallback to be like, okay, well, I can make sure this artist can get paid this amount so I can get this piece, so I can make the story at this point. It's a really good safety net to have that makes content creation better and easier. And I'm very, very grateful for it. We also have the channel membership option, which a lot of people have become channel members. I want to make sure that I can get some really cool perks and things that I can do for them. I have some things that I do for members of the Patreon, but I want to make sure that both things that you kind of pledge to be a part of, like a financial backing for the channel, have some really cool goals and perks and rewards. Some things I've done are things like if I have videos that I upload a early draft of to see if there are any like copyright issues or any issues in the editing, I will have a conversion that I keep private for just my eyes only. That if I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ditch this one and probably go back and make some changes and re-upload that next one, I can use those old, you know, draft videos that I'm not going to use to give a like early viewing and sneak peek to those people who have pledged to the channel in some format. But the main point of me saying all this is to say that you guys have been essential in getting the channel to where it currently is. And where it currently is around, what is that, 49,500 subscribers at the time of recording. And I want to make sure that we record this number as well, because it's something I didn't record in that first update video slash thoughts and goals for the future. The current lifetime number of views across the channel, which I need to pull up because it's a big number and I'm not going to remember it. It is 5,431,377 views across the entire lifetime of the Plus Ultraman channel. And that is simply incredible to me, because I was really surprised when we got one. And in 2020, I think I counted, we uploaded a total of 22 videos, not counting any of the live streams we did and some of the manga chapter reviews I did over the year that were taken down due to some kind of predatory and weird copyright claims issued by Shueisha, but we'll deal with that at some other point in some other way. I also want to mention that the second channel reached a grand total of 3,500 subscribers, as well as 229,288 total views across its total lifetime, and a total of 11 views were uploaded to that channel this year. Other things we've done and accomplished over the year I'll be kind of sprinkling in and mentioning from time to time as we go on throughout the video, but the next section I have in my notes is kind of, this is why we are doing an update video like this. In that last video I mentioned how excited I was to get into the real year 2 of content creation, and what my goals were, one of which being any growth from the number of subscribers at the time, which was 35,593, which I didn't do the math on to tell you how much we increased from like a percentage standpoint, but it is a large number that is big, and I am glad and happy with, and thank you again. And I'm glad I set it up that way to where it wouldn't be a type of situation where we could feel negative about it because we didn't get to like some specific concrete hard goal. It was something which just any growth is good growth, which is how you should look at things. Another huge thing that we've kind of gotten to that's really surprising is the channel's Discord server has 500 members. You absolute maniacs. This is insane to me because I do not do a great job of advertising the server. A lot of people find it on accident or just hear that we have it, like, you know, really late and after the fact. But also because I'm just not as active as I should be in there. I'm really busy. I'm usually making videos or, you know, doing something for school, family, friends, whatever it may be. So I don't have the most time to devote to that place. So I spent a lot of time kind of handpicking who the moderators and people are in there. And that's how the Discord server has kind of become this kind of FUBU for us, by us thing that is for the fans, by the fans, and just become a really cool space for you guys to kind of enjoy yourselves and hang out and commune with people who you have met through being fans of the channel. It's really cool, actually. Now, that said, in 2021, I'm planning to do some things that are going to make Discord a bit more implemental and important, that will kind of focus around it, that make sure being in there and being active kind of rewards you. Thinking like maybe some community game nights, and maybe some kind of community movie night. Things like that we can use Discord for and kind of take advantage and not have to be on YouTube to deal with like copyright and issues like that. Another big milestone, the channel's Instagram page has nearly 500 followers, which is also really surprising because I don't advertise that one as much as I advertise the channel's Twitter page. I find Twitter just a bit easier to use for like updates and teasers and previews of things and just kind of connect with people about different things. I am realizing that I have a decent enough Instagram following to where I should be making sure that I'm notifying those guys when I'm doing things and giving them sneak peeks and previews as well. That way I'm maximizing the amount of reach I can get to, you know, maximize the optimization of the content and yada yada YouTube robot speak. Point is, thank you for following the Instagram page. Another big thing, the channel Twitter page has reached over 1,100 followers. I think it might be even close to 1,200 by now, but I'm really hoping we can get that to maybe 2,000 by the end of the year, if that's at all possible. One thing I did at one point was I put a like and follow, or Twitter follow goal on, I believe it was What If Jiraiya adopted Naruto. And I want to tell you guys now that I will never be doing that again. That was way too big of a hold up to one of those parts that probably could have been out a bit earlier, but that was also a bit on the like that you weren't guys liking as much. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Listen, not going to do that anymore. We're going to try and let Twitter growth be as natural as possible without trying to like force it as much. I won't do that anymore. I'm very sorry for doing that. But I will say my reason in wanting to push some type of outside YouTube social media platform to interact with you guys on is that we've kind of learned that YouTube's notification system is just really, really wonky. Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't want to work. And so having an ability to make sure you guys know new content is coming out is really vital, because I hear like all the time, oh, part so-and-so came out of that. It's like, damn, how do you not know that? Like, that was like a month ago. Here's something a lot of you may be interested in but may not have known yet. The channel has an official DeviantArt page where you can go and see the commissioned visuals from most of the stories on the channel right now. And it's been a great way to not only promote the channel and stories, but also the artists that I commissioned to bring those visuals to life, which is always great because those guys are ridiculously talented. But the DeviantArt page currently has 39 watchers and almost 1,000 views at the time of recording, I think, and 34 deviations currently uploaded, with some that I haven't uploaded here because they're spoilers. But if you are a big DeviantArt fan or a Deviant yourself, if you just like art, you like the visuals of the channel, it is a way to go and view those without having to like pause on the video or like stay on the video or something like that. You can just go and watch and see those art pieces in and of themselves and admire them, and if you want to like base something of your own off them and stuff like that. If they're gonna have watermarks and stuff, so you can't just steal them using your own stuff, you know, it's still a really good way to go and interact with that art. My next bullet point here in my notes is, what are we planning to do in 2021? I know when I advertised I was going to be doing another New Year update video, I teased there's going to be a really big kind of development of the channel, and that a new series will be having content made out of it. I'm not going to go too in depth with that, just so I don't get anybody overly hyped or you know, set expectations too high, but it will be something new. It will be something really interesting, and I think it'll be a new take on doing this type of thing that will work really well for that series. I'll say that. Beyond that, I am renewing my plan from last year, or my goal from last year, to continue and try and bring a close to all of my currently ongoing What If storylines. I was listening to What If Universe's interview with Broken Ronin / AnimeX, where they were kind of going over some reasons why he'd stop making What If content and why he may at some point maybe return to them eventually. And he mentioned this like really common phenomenon with ongoing What Ifs that are like long and drawn out. that the views will just kind of currently steadily kind of drop lower. There are other reasons for that, but it was like the content in and of itself just, it can be really easy to burn yourself out on, because the way that he and I and a lot of other people kind of try to make it just doesn't work too well, so it forces you to kind of make it in a way that you may not want to. And I can understand how that leads to burnout really, really well. Now, that being said, as I was listening to that, I kind of had this realization as I was thinking about the other kind of end of that spectrum. When you bring those really long, drawn-out storylines to a solid conclusion, and then go the extra mile of doing something like a what-if movie, so that's compilation that kind of puts all those parts together and brings that into one big cohesive narrative that takes some significant chunk of time. Not only does the YouTube algorithm really love that type of video, but it's also just the kind of best way to balance the pros and cons of long-form, in-depth storytelling. So a lot of those stories, my plan is to get them at a point where I have some definitive finale where the story can be, brought to some end and have that full story, movie made out of it. Because I know even if like I get to, heaven forbid, like part 15, I don't ever really want to go like part 15 of some stories, but if something like that were to come and I put that entire finished story in some big catalog movie video, it could still collect like a really greater amount of views than the entire series as a singular part may have gotten, which is a good way to make that kind of experience of seeing those views kind of drop worth it in the end. I also want to give you guys a progress bar, meaning you can see where a story currently is and how far we have before it is ready to end, of every currently ongoing what if on the channel. Doing this from latest to have a release to the least latest. The What If Piccolo Turned Good early story is near its conclusion, I will say. I think it will have a nice big fun TOP. I hope not stretch it out too far, but I also want to kind of balance the way that the anime handles the TOP and the manga handles the TOP, the manga being much more speedy in how it gets through. It doesn't waste time in going through a lot of some of the individual fights, some of the weaker characters. But I also don't want everybody to just get shafted and just be the Goku and Vegeta and Jiren and Kefla and, the big heavy hitter show. Because that's also just not how that storyline has been set up. I will say its Broly arc, I'm not too concrete on what we'll be having happen, but I know that we'll have a very big and fun and different more arc than the canon one that we have seen in the manga so far, just because the circumstances, set pieces, characters, major players, things that happen and transpire in that arc happening with these versions of the character, with these circumstances, it's just too much potential not to have something big and flashy and different happen. Zabuza survived. I hope not to drag that one out too much further. Like I just said, that's a pretty good basis for me. I will aim to have every story I'm currently doing done well within 15 parts. I will mention that the Zabuza story, I have major ideas for things that could happen up until the Boruto era, but I pretty much have an idea for things that can happen in every part of the series. That doesn't mean that I want to make a long, really drawn out part of every series, because I know a very significant part of that series has been, well, things are happening kind of similar here, and then there's maybe one big major change per the part. We haven't gotten to the parts of this story where the implementation of Zabuza surviving will make the biggest ramifications. But I do think that after the next part we're going to have, which is going to be one more kind of custom arc that doesn't really have anything to do with the main stuff that you saw in the manga, but will have major implications to that stuff right afterwards, it's going to happen. And from there we'll go into Kakuzu and the Hidan arc, as well as Sasuke's attempt on Itachi. Human Saiyans, we also have to do its TOP really soon. I think it's going to be one big video that handles its TOP, and we'll probably get through all of it. I'm not sure if it's gonna be the biggest balance between the anime and manga, just because of how that one is kind of set up, but it will be really good. Its Broly saga is also kind of up in limbo. It's going to depend on what I kind of end up wanting to do with it, because I know that one of the decisions I've kind of had on the path I could take with it has been noticed by some people, and I really don't like to make my stories too predictable, but at some points it's just, well, this is the better story option. I think that can be very obvious to a lot of people. After the TOP, that story will go into its Moro arc, and then it will also be pretty much caught up with the current manga, because I'm pretty sure the manga won't be getting through the next arc with Granola and all the things that are currently happening anytime in 2021. Something tells me we'll probably be having another decently long arc, kind of like the Moro arc, since a lot of the things that are happening in the next arc happening because of events in the Moro arc. They were kind of set forth in motion because of things that have already happened. What if Naruto was adopted by Jiraiya? Part 10 will likely cover a lot. Definitely not as much as part 9, as that video was over an hour long and I'm just not ready to do that again. But from there, I'll much easier be able to tell you how much longer that story has to play out. I do have some major events I have planned for that one, but we may be having some things happen to where kind of glide through, but we're not going to just rush and super dash through it, you know? Goku later on, Vampa is next. It is a really similar situation to the Naruto adopted by Jiraiya storyline. I know part 4 will come out and probably be a decent bookend, but I will probably continue it after that because, for one thing, I want that story to be very, very different from the Namek storyline, which I thought at some point just reached a really natural and thematically beautiful kind of bookend to it. But I think there are some things I can do that are brand new things that have never been done in the Dragon Ball universe at all with that story that make it worth doing, not just for differentiation, but just, you know, to make a really good story. What if Staying Train Deku is next? The next thing on the docket for that series is we're going to be doing a redux, which is like a redo that is going to be trying to revamp and redo some things better of part 1 through 3. I highly suggest checking that out, as I'm going to not only be showing a lot of new visuals of some of the things that we weren't able to show very good visuals of the first time around, but I'm also going to be introducing a few small changes to try and make part 4 through 8 flow a lot better and a lot more narratively cohesively. And I'm also going to be using that as a way to drum up some traffic on that series. Part 8 has a light goal of 5,000 to get the next part, which is part 9, which I'm kind of grateful that we've had so much time to have that for, because it allowed an arc of the manga to play out that has been really, really implemental and big changes that are going to be going forward, that I'm kind of glad I got to see that without having to write that story simultaneously, so I'm not messing anything up that I could need to have later in place or anything like that. It's good to be able to have that future sight, because writing a what if along a story that is still unfolding is kind of dangerous because all the retcons you have to make if you kind of mess something up, or maybe make a prediction or work on some type of fan theory or whatever it may be. It's just things where you might not be as accurate as you could be if you had waited. So the light goal has served its purpose in giving us some leeway and some time. But at this point, I think it's definitely okay for us to get past it so we can get some more eyes on that series and more likes on part 8. That would be perfect. I think it is less than 1,500 we currently need. So if you have not liked part 8 of What If Staying Train Deku, I'll probably link it on screen and in the description below. Make sure you go and do so now so we can get to that point as soon as possible. And again, get a new great content video thing out for you to enjoy. YouTube Talk Speak. Okay, next on the list. Listen, we're all gonna kill Smugstick if he doesn't get back to What If Kami raised Goku with me. I am with you guys. We're all the same angry mob. We will grab our weed weapons and katanas and sais and bow staffs, and somebody's got like a tanto and like a Japanese war club. Like, people got all the types of things, right? And we'll go to Smug's house and we'll kidnap him. Listen, this is a real plot. And no, I'm done. But yeah, we're gonna get on to him, and we're gonna get a definitive end to that storyline at some point. But that will be done. What If Deku Was an Evo is next, and I will say that after its next part, it likely won't be having any more. But that doesn't mean it won't be having a new part. I have been really open about my view of the kind of give Deku a different power what if, because I think they end up being really, really samey with just the canon story, because you end up having to give Deku a different means to complete the same objective, which I don't think is interesting in the least bit. But I am going to give that story a satisfying conclusion and write it to the best of my ability, because I'm Plus Ultraman. I think I can do that. Beyond that, want to take those criticisms I have of that genre of making what my hero what ifs, at least see if I can use them to improve that format. What if Goku joined Raditz? We will return to it at some point, definitely in this year, I'm sure. I am probably going to end up commissioning a lot of visuals for the next part, as I know that it's probably going to be involving a lot of things just because of how that story is set up, so it's not too derivative of Smugstick, who I based that first version of the story off of. I know that after that, we may not draw it out too much further. I think I'm going to try and get a lot of the things that happen with Super to be kind of streamlined, because at that point, I think that story will be kind of going into a natural, okay, you can kind of imagine what's going to happen here. Though I will say I'm going to revamp at least part 1 and maybe take out and add some things into a few parts of the series, since those are some of the roughest videos of my channel since they're some of the oldest. I'm going to count What If Fusion was taught early, Shin trained Goku / turned good, and Frieza turned good as one here, and say that all 3 will have some kind of continuation this year. The first 2 likely won't have more than one part. I kind of expect those to end up being some kind of Plus Ultra podcast, whether that be just me covering the topic in some long, in-depth format that kind of gets to the story in one go, isn't too in-depth, but still kind of gives you something entertaining to watch, maybe some company gameplay that has something to do with what you're listening to, while also making sure that they aren't too drawn out, because I just don't think those storylines up to snuff with some of the ideas that I've had come out that you've seen me kind of make long, in-depth continuations of. Now, Frieza may have at least one more part after the next, or a few more after that. I do have some ideas for that storyline. I want to get through with some of the Dragon Ball What Ifs that I'm currently doing before I begin to focus on that one and juggle it with those, because I've realized that as I do multiple Dragon Ball What Ifs ongoing, sometimes I have a really bad habit of crossing them up when they might be in similar eras and time periods, when like some of the same villains might be facing each other, or some of the same characters might be dead at the same time, and I can end up, having them bleed into each other, which makes mistakes happen. I don't like for that to be the case. Finally, I lightly mentioned this, but these aren't really ongoing What Ifs or a series of any kind. The Plus Ultra podcast will also be returning in 2021, because it's going to be a part of one of the goals I have for 2021. I think it better be served as something that I can use as a tool. Kind of the same premise as filler for anime when you think about it. Like, okay, the manga is like really close to where the anime is at, so we need to like space it out by giving you something that isn't like the exact same thing. It still serves to progress the story and give you some entertainment, and we're still filling the time slot we've been given, right? And in that way, those that want to come to see that stuff can still come to see that, and those that maybe aren't really penalized by like, missing out or having a story that they really want to see put on the back burner for something else. That's also going to just allow me to be more consistent in my upload, because another goal I'm going to have for 2021 is going back to the basics of the channel, which is going to be something being uploaded here once a week, every week. If I don't upload every 52 weeks of the year, I would like to at least upload 46 or 47 on that way. I've uploaded at least I think that's 90% of the weeks in the year. We've also done things that weren't really goals, but they were just things we got improved. The audio setup of the home studio has been improved. I ended up being able to sound panel off a single room as well as insulated, so I can get way better sound quality in there. I'm not recording it there right now just because I wanted to kind of be on screen for this one, and this is my much more interesting to look at background, as well as I upgraded from the Grape, the little laptop that we built this entire channel off of, to a pre-built gaming PC, which is going to serve our needs a lot better. The few videos that I've made on it so far compared to the Grape are coming out way faster, because it just optimizes a lot of things I do, so it's been a really good purchase in that. A goal last year had been to read and get you guys to read a lot more manga, and I kept my end of the bargain on that one. I believe we won't be renewing that one. I'll have on screen everything that I read and the amount of chapters in those stories, just because this did end up taking a decent chunk of time throughout the year, but I'm glad that I did it, just because it kind of expanded my horizons, some of the series that I enjoy, some of the series that I may end up covering in the future. One more thing I wanted to note, which is why you will notice my lighting has changed a lot in this shot, is that I wanted to show a lot of you guys, if you did not already know, how to get to and use the channel community tab page. So I'll probably just be showing a few screenshots and maybe some marker drawings or whatever on how you get there from mobile and on desktop. And I also wanted to ask you guys to please start liking community tab posts when you see them. I would like to see if making sure that they get a significant amount of likes helps more people on the channel to see them. And I also just want to make sure that making sure I tell you guys it is something you can use that gives you a lot of updates on the channel will kind of draw more of you guys there, because the whole thing I did with listing out where every current What If is going in its ongoing state right now, I've been using the community tab to do that this entire year. I also forgot to mention, which was supposed to be my first new goal, we're going to be collaborating with a lot more content creators in 2021. That is because I've just met a lot more people that I want to be a part of the content library of. I've met people that I really respect the content they make, and I'd love to make something with them. Another goal we had last year that was kind of insane was I wanted to try and record every chapter of the Better Left Unsaid fanfiction reading. Jesus Christ, I was an idiot. I don't know how that was going to happen. I was underestimating how long Kenchi's chapters are. To give you an idea, I don't think I've seen one that was under 11,000 words in the last 2 or 3 readings I've done. and I think he's only been increasing since then. The story has a total of 81 chapters at the moment. I'm currently on chapter 24 right now. Chapter 23 was released last and is on the second channel for viewing right now. I'm about 40% through the recording of chapter 24, and his last update was in October of 2020. He has other like stories that he likes to work on, as well as I'm sure duties and obligations of his own. So that kind of gives you a very loose sense of like how much time and effort he's putting into each of these stories. But it is to say that Better Left Unsaid likely won't be having its conclusion anytime soon, so trying to rush to get every chapter of the story read out is just really, really foolish. If somebody is very, very enthusiastic to read the next parts, I would highly suggest they go and read it themselves, because something I've noticed is that when I rush through getting those readings done, there are a lot more of those hiccups, mess ups, repeats, messed up line deliveries, that got left in. Things are just, they don't make the recording come out crisp and clean and as good as some of the content that comes out on my main channel, because people just don't rush me as bad as they do on that one. When I rush through that content, it suffers. Like I said, I uploaded 11 videos on the second channel last year. I want to make sure that we at least kind of double that. I like to at least get 22 chapters out, which would mean we'd be around halfway through the entire story by the end of the year, which I don't think will be very, very bad. And if we can do more than that, we can definitely do more than that. But I will say my goal is to have a complete reading of that story on YouTube made by me for your enjoyment. Not only because the fans of that series are very passionate and enthusiastic for it, I can definitely say that. Also because in spite of the fact that in my revisiting of it as kind of an adult who's revisited Naruto as a series and kind of reformatted a lot of the opinions I had about the series and kind of grew on things and learned new things as the series kind of progressed and had more stuff come out, I've gone back and revisited the Better Left Unsaid story and realized there are things and choices and things that I kind of just cringe at and I don't agree with, but there are also aspects of that story that I still love, and the love that kind of caused me to think about that day that I was like, I kind of want to make something new, but I don't have anything I kind of put out. Ooh, what's something? And I thought of that story instantly. The reason that happened still shines through very, very clearly with that story. So I want to make sure that is a project that I finish at some point on YouTube. I kind of just mentioned this one, but another new goal I'm going to have this year that we didn't have last year is that I want to at least double the number of uploads we had this year. Like I said, I want to be a lot more consistent in how we're uploading in this year by trying to go back to at least one video a week as well. Probably the biggest goal for 2021. I would like to hit 100,000 subscribers if I can. I know 50,000 has been an absolute beast for us to surmount. The 40,000 range in general is just kind of hard to get through. It was also kind of accompanied by a time of a year-long pretty much depression that probably didn't help with the growth that could have, taken place during that time. In that, like I said, 2020 has been a year full of hardship, adversities for pretty much everyone who went through it. In 2020, I had to reach out for help in ways that I never have, as well as learn ways to take care of and maintain myself in ways that I never have. And I will say that both were incredibly necessary steps in me progressing as a person. The theme of what this video is, it is the theme of what shonen battle manga is kind of built off of. The idea that we love so much, that progression through struggle. It's why I'm recording the current accomplishments of the channel so we can look back in 2022 and see where we've grown from there. I would like to see how much stronger we've got, and I like to continue to strive and grow stronger and continue to improve from the level I'm at. Because I look at the friends and acquaintances I've made through YouTube, through being plus Ultraman, the bonds I've made with people that I've known for so long, like Smugstick and Mondo, whose channels are really starting to come into their own and still growing and getting stronger and bigger. Their content's getting better, growing to make more and different content. I feel this magnetic pull to catch up to them and stand at their side again, and to also continue to surpass the levels that I'm currently at. In all things, I want to continue to progress and grow stronger, because that is what it means to go beyond plus ultra. Though I think I am starting to get a bit derivative and repetitive in what I am saying, so all this is to say 2021 is going to be a year that I will attempt to make very prosperous for not only this channel but myself and the people that I work with and collaborate with and feature on the channel as well. So I want to ask you guys to continue to support in whatever ways you can, continue to be a part of the Pulse Road fam. I love you. Thank you so much. No, that's not it. It's trans rights are human rights, but trans lives are human lives. I mean, it don't matter. I ain't mess up in no way. Black lives matter. I love you. Take care of yourselves and see you guys next time.